Time for another video. Founders of Teotihuacan. Today I'm gonna show you founders of Teotihuacan. Teotihuacan. I can't say it. I can't say it. Hi my friend and welcome to the channel. I am Richard and you are watching Genders Gaming, a channel dedicated for analog games. And today I am going to show you this game right here, with a name that I just cannot pronounce. I don't know if it's because I'm from Sweden or something, but I just can't get this word in my mouth. Founders of Teotihuacan. Founders of Teotihuacan. I can't say it. Do you know how to pronounce this? Please tell me in the comments because I would love to know it. But this game is from Board&Dice and it's for 1 to 4 players and around 60 minutes of gameplay. I'm going to show you how to set up this game and I'm going to show you how to play the game. So let's just take a look at it. So this is the setup of the game, and this game is set up for 3 players, which is kind of important when you set up the main board, as some of these components will be more or less depending on how many players you are. We start by setting up the buildings here, and here you need to be careful to look in the rulebook to see how many buildings you should have depending on the amount of players. Regardless of how many players you are, you should have 2 of each temple in the temple field. And you can see where to place them because it's marked out on the board. We also use all of the worship tiles. We shuffle each pile and put them on the left spot of the worship placement. Then we move on to the pyramids. These are the pyramids looking like this, and we should place 2 of each color on the marked out spots. The rest of them should be placed next to the table. We also need to put the sun marker at the top of this track, and the eclipse marker is placed depending on how many players you are. This is a 3-player game, so we should put it at number 3. Then we need to prepare the different masks. And we do this by starting with the highest number and going down to the lowest. Again, you need to see how many players you are, because if you are less than 4, you need to remove a certain amount of masks. And this applies to all of the masks. Each player also gets their player board. And again, this depends on how many players there are, because these are double-sided. Each player needs to put a blank pyramid tile in the center of their board. They also get 1 pyramid tile of each color. They get an architect of a color of their choice. They get their matching focus tokens that are a little bit smaller than the action tokens. 1 focus token should be put at 0 on the victory point track. The other one is put at the start of the favor track. The youngest player gets to take the starting token. And the starting player should place their architect at the top of their player board. The player to the left should place their architect on the right side of the board. The next player again places their architect at the bottom of the board. If we would have been 4 players, we would have placed the last player's architect on this side, going clockwise around the player board. Now, each player in player order gets to place out their pyramid tokens on their pyramid space on their player board. In this game, we got something called reach. If your architect is here, your reach would be half of this side of your player board. But this player over here, their reach is this half of their player board, and this player over here have a reach to this half of their board. So you cannot build or place any buildings on your player board outside of your reach. To build structures on your board, They need to be in your reach. I will tell you more about this later. Now, each player in turn order needs to set up their player board. And they start by placing out the 3 starting pyramid tiles. Remember, they need to place them out within the reach of their architect. This square here is where we place the pyramid tiles. In the center we have the blank tile, representing the center of the pyramid. When the player places out their tiles on the empty spaces, they immediately gain the bonus on these spaces. Meaning that when this purple player places 1 pyramid tile on the green temple building, they will also get 1 green temple building to place out in their architect's reach. Like this, for example. Same thing happens when they place out their second pyramid tile over the golden building. They will get 1 gold building as a reward. And they can place that out again within their architect's reach, just like that. And when they place out the last pyramid, they will also get this bonus, meaning 2 victory points, this is the symbol for victory points, and 1 small building, either stone or wood. Meaning that they get to choose a building of their choice and place it out. As you can see here, we have now covered the masks in this player's area. Meaning that they will actually immediately get 1 mask, but also get the victory points stated on the mask. Moving their little token up the amount of step stated on the mask token. Now the player to the left of this starting player sets up their pyramids within their architect's reach. That was the setup of the game. There are a few components here, so in the beginning it will take you a little bit of time, but once you've done it a few times, it will go quite smooth. Now, this game is about you constructing your city. And you do this by building buildings and building temples and slowly constructing your pyramid. Now, in this game we have 2 concepts. I've already talked about one of them, which is the architect's reach. Your architect has a reach which is half of your player board, and you cannot build outside of that reach. But we also have something that is called action strength, which I will show you in a little bit. Now, to build the different buildings, you will need the action strength to actually be able to afford the buildings in the beginning. Later on, you will be using the different resources to build the different buildings, and the resources we have is gold, stone, and wood. But how does the action strength actually work? So in this game, we have a concept called action strength. Each of these represents 1 action that you can take in this space. The tokens are called bonus action tokens because the first player that puts their action token on this bonus token gets the bonus stated on the token. Meaning that if the purple player would place their token here, they would get 2 victory points. Now, the second player to choose one of these actions can also choose to do this action by placing their token on top of the other players. Now, the purple player below have an action strength of 2 because the first token, the bonus token, is 1 and her token becomes 2. But the blue player will get a strength of 3 because there is 1, 2, 3 tokens in this space. But what do you need these action strengths for? Well, these are important when you're going to buy different constructions out on the main board. For example, to build a size 4 gold house, you would need strength 4 to buy this building. So if you only have 3, well, you cannot buy this. You can buy a size 3, 2 or 1 if you want that, but you can't buy a size 4. And also, when you're going to buy the other buildings, the temples and pyramids for example, you do actually not need strength. You need resources to build them. But for every strength that you are lacking, you will need to pay extra resources. So if you, for example, would like to buy this orange temple here, you could have any amount of strength as long as you have the needed resources. Here, for example, you would need stone, gold, but for every strength that you are lacking, you need to pay 1 extra stone. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 size building. And if you only have a strength with, for example, 3, you would need to pay 2 extra stone. 1 for each strength that you do not have. So now that we know what the architect's reach mean, but also the action strength means, we are ready to take a look at the actual gameplay. And a game is played out by a player doing their turn. And they can place 1 up to 3 action tokens out on the available action spots. And as I told you before, even if there is another player on one of these spots, they can still place their token there, giving them more strength. This is the way a round goes on until all players have done what they can or chooses to pass. You can also pass if you feel like there's nothing that you would like to do. But what does the different actions actually mean? Out on the main board, we have 3 different action zones. And these 3 zones are split up in a top zone and a bottom zone. Up here you have the building actions. Down here you have the influence actions. And depending on which of these parts you pick, you can do different things. Let's start up here. Here we have 3 different action bonus spots. And remember that the first one to place their token here gets the bonus on those tokens. So this purple player here would get 2 victory points by placing here. But since they're the first one to place their token here, they only have an action strength of 2. Remember, the first token is 1 and their player token is 1, giving them a total of 2. Meaning that out here they can only choose between the size 2 wood house or the size 2 stone house. If they do not decide to place another action token on top of this one. Remember, you can put out 1 up to 3 action tokens during your turn. So they could choose to take 1 more token and place on top of their own, giving them the ability to buy 1 of the size 3 houses instead. Once you have placed your tokens, you count how many strengths you have. In this case, 1, 2, 3, meaning that they could pick up a size 3 wood house, for example. Once you have picked it up, you get to place it in your city. But remember that it needs to be placed within your architect's reach, meaning that I could not choose to put it over here. I need to put it in the top half of my player board. So you can place this wood building here within your city. Now when you place these, they need to be completely within 3 tiles. And they can't be sticking out of your player board. And like I told you, they can't go outside your architect's reach either. They can't be on top of other buildings. But you can place it like this, like that, and you can twist and turn it any way you like to, as long as it fills the criteria I just said. After you have placed your building into your city, you also get resources. This is a wood building, so you get wood resources in each of the orthogonally spaces adjacent to this building. Meaning here, here, but also here. That was the buildings, but we also have the temples here that you can build and put into your city. And just like we did on the buildings, we would do the same thing on the temples. We would put the amount of action tokens on the bonus action space that we would like to have. If we are the first one to place our tokens here, we would get the bonus. But now it's a little bit different depending on how much action strength you have. The blue player here has 1, 2, 3, meaning that now they could buy the green size 3 temple, but they need to pay the amount of resources stated next to the temple. But because they have a strength of 3, they do not need to pay any extra resources. But if they would like to have a size 4 temple, for example, they would need to pay the resources and 1 extra wood because they only have a strength of 3. They do not have 4, so they're missing 1 strength and need to pay the penalty. So if you have the right amount of resources and action strength, you get to take the little temple piece here and put it into your city. And we place this just the same way as we did with the buildings. You can twist and turn them any way, and if you completely cover some masks, like in this case here for example, you get that mask and you get the rewards. But you also get to take one of the face-up worship tiles that corresponds in color with the temple that you have just placed in your city. Once you have taken a tile, you place a new one face up. The last build action we have is to be able to build a part of your pyramid. Now how cool isn't that? To be able to build one of your pyramids, you need to place your little player token here on one of the available bonus token spaces. The pyramids have a build strength of 4. But as you can see here, the orange player only have 1, 2, 3, meaning that they're lacking 1. And this works just like it did when we built the temples. You need to pay the resources to be able to build a pyramid, which is 2 gold and 1 wood, but you also need to pay 1 extra gold for each of the action strengths that you are missing. Once you have chosen the pyramid piece that you would like to have in your pyramid, we get to place it out in our pyramid space. Remember, that is within this square, and this is the center of your pyramid. When you place your pyramid on top of one of these symbols, you will get the corresponding reward. In this case here, a size 2 building. As your pyramid grows, you will be able to start building it upwards. But you need to have 4 tiles below the tile that you place, meaning that you would not be able to place it out here, since that side would definitely collapse. When you place a pyramid in your city, you get 2 victory points straight away. So that was the construction actions that we have on the top part of the main board. But remember that we also had the green field down here below. These are the influence actions. But what do they do? On the first influence action, you get to choose which one you would like to do. You can either choose to produce resources and place them next to your existing buildings. Meaning that for every wood house you have, you get 1 wood. For every stone house, you get 1 stone. And for every gold house, you get 1 gold. Or you could choose to build 2 size 1 building in your city, either stone or wood houses. This influence action here will let you resolve one of your worship tiles that you have acquired. There are many different worship tiles, and some of them demand that you have special conditions to actually get the rewards. To figure out what all of these does, well, you just need to look at the back of the rulebook. The last influence action is to move up the favored track and get the corresponding victory points, but also give you a chance to change out any of your worship tiles. And that's the different actions that the players can do. They can choose to construct buildings, pyramids, and so on, or do the influence actions to gain either new resources, new buildings, or even worship tiles. After the players have taken their action, they turn their little architect to the next side of their board in clockwise order. changing the reach of your architect, meaning that from every turn you will be able to build on different spots out on your player board. Once all players have passed and do not feel like they want to or can do any more actions, we move into the end of round phase. Now, if the sun token is at the same location as the eclipse token, the game ends and we go into end of game scoring. But if it is not, we need to do some new setup before we go into the next round. We need to move the sun marker one step, indicating new round. We need to shuffle all the bonus discs again, put them face down, and then randomly place them out on their new places. We need to permanently remove one action disc from each player and then refill the buildings, but also the temples. And now we're ready to start a new round again. If the sun marker have reached the eclipse marker and they're on each other, this will be the last round. Once players have done their turns, taking their actions and then pass, we would go into the final scoring. At the end of the game, you will earn extra victory points depending on how you have built your pyramid. You will get scores per district for each of the pyramid tiles that are in or partial in that district. If the pyramid tile is at the bottom of the pyramid, you will score 2 victory points for each temple that matches its color. Meaning that in this case here, you would get 2 plus 2 times the amount of temples you have, meaning 4 points. But if your pyramid is on the top level, you will score 3 points for each matching temple in that district, meaning here you will get 3 points plus 2 points plus 2 points per green temple in this district, giving this district a total of 7 points. But in this district here, for example, we have a green pyramid tile at the bottom, giving 2 points, but we have 2 green temples, meaning that here we take 2 points times 2, giving this district 4 points. And that's how you play Founders of Teotihuacan. And it's not that hard. I mean, there are a few things to keep track on here on what actions you can do, what happens when you place the different buildings and where you can place them, so on. Not forgetting to move your architect around, the reach. But once you have gone like one round, it's pretty much second nature. It goes really fast to get into this game. It's quite easy for you to learn it. So new players probably won't have any problems at all to sit down, go through the game fast and then start playing it. This game is a nice little tile placing game, and it's actually quite versatile. There's a lot of things for the players to do here, to build the different buildings, to get the worship tiles, to try to reach the goals of these tiles as well and get those points. And there's a lot of different ways for the players to get scores in this game. I mean, it's not just about you placing buildings and get the rewards. You can get the masks, you can get the worship tiles, you can do it in the end with the pyramids, and that is really where a lot of the strategy comes into this game. To place the right pyramid tile in the right district to get the right building combination, and in the end get a big bonus and fly up on the victory point track. That does a lot for the players, so that's important for you to keep in mind. But also the small bonuses here on the favorite track does a lot, and the different bonus tokens also does a lot for you to move up fast. So there's a lot of things for the players to take on in this game. The rulebook in this game is really well written and quite easy to understand. There's not that much text and there is a lot of pictures in here. So it's really easy for you to understand what they're referring to, what they mean, and how it's supposed to look when you play it. This is quite well made. There's also an extra solo rulebook here. Now, I haven't played this game solo. I am a solo player, but I have not tried this solo, so I can't tell you that much about it. But just by looking at it, I might just think that there are a lot of changes to the actual competitive mode, because this is quite big for just a solo mode. As I understand it, You roll a die for the other competitors, and that's pretty much all I know about it. But if you are a solo player, maybe you should check that out. The player boards and the big main board might look a little bit confusing at first, but once you have just gone 1 or 2 rounds, it's really not that hard to understand what you can or cannot do. And the boards themselves are actually quite clean, so once the players have gotten hang of it, well, it's basically just to start playing. There you have it, my friend. That was founders of whatever this place is called. This is a cool little tile placement games where you get to go head and head on to build the best city and hopefully get the best victory points. Hopefully now you have an understanding of what this game is and how you play it. If you want to know more about this game, check out the links down in the description and it will take you straight to Board&Dice and their page. Now, if you like this video, you know what to do. Please give me a like, please throw in a comment there, share the video if you liked it, or maybe subscribe to my channel, please. It gives me a smile on my lips every time I get a new subscriber. And until next time, my friend, please keep on spreading that board gaming love I know you all have. Peace.